Hi, everyone. This is Aaron Myers from Ishmael Interactive, and thank you for joining us in another of our speaker series. My pronouns are he, him. I am, as always, a heavyset Latino man with a very gray beard, and I am joined today by Ishmael Interactive Design Officer Scott Kellum. Scott, introduce yourself and let's talk about your work.
Great. Hi, Aaron. Great to be here with you. I'm Scott Kellum. I am a white middle-aged man with some slick back hair a little bit, a white t-shirt. Um, and yeah, I've been a designer for over 20 years now, with a focus on digital, typography, all the things. I see design more as a process as opposed to in a craft, as like opposed to a specific um, area. So I like to dabble in everything, and that the human-centered design guidelines that you all have developed have really resonated with me and influenced my practice a lot. So yeah, really excited to be here.
That's fantastic. Now, Scott, I've looked through all your stuff, all your work. As everybody who listens to us knows, I try to get to know our speakers fully and how they exist online with all of their work. You've done a lot of branding work, including the branding of Ishmael Interactive, which makes this a great conversation for people who are still getting to know us.
Right. Right. Yeah, lately I have done a lot of branding work. As I've worked for startups, mostly in the product design capacity. And I've worked at Vox Media. So did a little bit of branding work for Vox Media. Um, Kind of dabbled in it, but yeah, the past year I've done a ton of branding work and for Ishmael Interactive. So um, talking about process a little bit, the discovery phase is of the human-centered design guides is incredibly important in my process. Um, I have just started talking with a new client lately, and going through the discovery phase anew is always, a wonderful exploration. We've talked a little bit about how branding is talk therapy for business. And the
Yes.
first step of that is figuring out more about them, who they are. And it's not just about who they are currently, but really where they want to go. Brand is an aspiration. Um, and it's something that you need to get a little bit bigger and then grow into. So, bringing it back to therapy, it's a lot about, what are your intentions? Where do you see yourself in 5, 10 years? And then working through kind of what their motivations are, then whoever's, the CEOs, whoever is a stakeholder in the brand, what are their motivations? Trying to unpack like what is at the heart of this business, and then creating, only after you figure out what is the essence of this entity that happens to be a business, only after that can you start to sort of create and craft like a visual representation of that. Um, so yeah, with this client, I'm asking like what are some unique touches? What are your favorite experiences with clients? What's been your most powerful kind of experience with a client? What are some of the tools you like to work with? Asking things that are really they seem tangential to just make a logo,
Yeah.
but it enables me to really understand who they are, what they represent, what they value, and then I can kind of weave that into other aspects of their visual identity.
So this is great stuff. It reminds me a lot of my own experiences. A lot of us come from federal programs working on nationwide problems, and I could give you a little story of one of the agencies I was doing enterprise licensing for. They had a rebranding, as they called it, of an office from the Office of Enterprise Information to the Office of Mission Support. and they gotten all the logos changed, all the letters had changed, and I asked them, okay, so what are you going to actually do that's different? And the answer was, well, we're using these words now. So it's a common pitfall. People don't often include all of the special sauce in a rebranding, I would say. And that's sort of the thing that strikes me is everything's so intentional. Now, like I said, I've read all your work that I can find, and you have another piece on making smartphones dumb,
Right.
which to put the proper context for everybody who's listening to this, it's really about reducing distractions to have the device do only what you intend it to do.
Right.
And that's sort of what I love about our site and the other stuff I saw in the portfolio is I can't pick anything that doesn't look intentional.
Right.
Does that come from a reduction process? How do you struggle your way through that?
I've talked about with this with Anna as well. It's not reduction. It is about finding out what it is that we are trying to do and then crafting things in a way that gets those things done. So, uh, Anna and I have been doing some research on like the shaker philosophy. And shaker, you've heard that term in design, shaker style cabinets, shaker style furniture.
Yeah.
It's synonymous with simple and synonymous with reduction. But there is also invention and creation in that process. And our philosophies align very, very closely with the Shaker philosophy.
Well, let
Uh,
me see if I could get to it in another way that lets us address both directions, addition and
yes.
subtraction. So you've talked about going into these meetings, talking to companies, people about, okay, what do you intend to do? It seems to me there are two ways those conversations can go.
Hmm.
One is too much information. They
Hmm.
sit you down and half an hour later you realize they're trying to be Google.
Yes.
Oh, we want to do all the things.
Right.
And the other one is a 30-second conversation about nothing because they haven't actually put that statement on paper yet.
Right.
You have to find sort of a happy medium between those two things, correct?
Right. And I can often go back to somebody over and over again and kind of drill down and try to get at their specific questions. And that's why I kind of go off and ask, like with this prospective woodworking client, like, what tools do you use? And the first thing I often ask, especially when somebody's rebranding, like, why? What's wrong with what you're doing now? And even if
Right.
it, looks bad, like I need to know that from them. Like, why are you doing this? Is it just to like, are the words are different,
Right.
or is it deeper than that? And usually, if it's the words are different, then um, I think MSNBC just rebranded to My Source News or something like that,
Interesting.
which is an interesting choice because that's an example of the words being different.
Right.
Um, and the branding looks a little, uninspired to be honest, because that was clearly the brief. The words are different. So, uh,
Right.
another big example is like Apple, I mean, everyone always brings up Steve Jobs, but the one thing that I think is so important is he never put any specifications. Like, how fast was this? How fast is this thing? Like, how many megahertz? He never communicated those things in quantitative measures. he realized that there were humans like who were not technical, not engineers, buying the Apple products. He wanted that to be his audience. And people would try to put in like, oh, it's 1,000 megahertz now. It's like,
It doesn't mean much if
it,
you're not
who
computer guy.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But the trackpad had to be great. The screen had to be great. The things that you physically touched had to be outstanding. Those are the things that he had Apple focus on.
So, Scott, this has been a great conversation. What I want to do now is hit you with what we call the one for fun.
Okay. Okay.
And the one for fun, every time we do a speaker, we ask a silly or irreverent question to be the mental bookmark, a
Yeah.
thing people can remember and by extension then remember the rest of the conversation.
Yeah.
There's this game, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. It's called Hues and Clues.
I'm not familiar now.
So the way this game works is you get a big color swatch, a pattern, a grid pattern of colors, and you pull these cards that have one of those colors on it, and you have to give people clues to what color you're talking about.
Hmm.
I love taking designers into this game and talking to people who are in color theory into this game. For one reason, because I'm very bad at this game. And I find I have to lead on references. It is Boston Red Sox red, just as an
Hmm.
example. If you have to describe a color to another person, what is the method or the set of references that you're likely to use?
Oh, that's a great question because let's see. I normally talk about it in terms of the color wheel. So relative to like it is a red that is not super bright, a little more desaturated than that, and then, a little bit warm and, more towards an orange hue. So something that describes the color on the color, like I try to map it from the color wheel, starting with like
Gotcha.
a very basic color.
This is why I love playing this game with designers because you get three colors in and then they realize that the color wheel to me is like the Rosetta Stone. There's just no mental conception.
Right.
I love
Anyway,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, no, this
It,
this is great. But from everyone and us here at Ishmael Interactive, thank you for joining us. Have a good time.